Top of the top, y'all. It's your boy Real Estate Show. Let's get right into it. Comping land deals and comping homes are two completely different things. And in 2025, the game has changed just a little bit. Now today, I'm going to talk to y'all about how to comp land, whether you're wholesaling or whether you're actually building your own new construction property, which if you're getting that far, I would hope you already know how to comp land. But if you're just getting your foot in the door and it's something you aspire to do, then we're going to talk about comping for new builds. We're going to talk about what makes land valuable and also how to spot red flags and avoid rookie mistakes. When you're comping actual homes, it's a lot of variables that go into that, which all pretty much are based around the condition of the actual property. Land comps more so depend on the zoning of the lot and new construction homes in the area. And since vacant land obviously has no structure, there is not a traditional ARV. So tools that you can use to comp land are actually the same exact tools that you can use when you comping houses. So this can be Zillow, PropStream, and preferably the MLS if you have access to that. Now, I actually have access to the MLS, and I'm going to run through how I actually comped for a lot that I personally own. And so we're going to run through that on the MLS. My mother is a broker, so she has given me unlicensed access to the MLS. If you know a realtor, someone that you have a good relationship with, they may also be willing to do this for you. But regardless, I would suggest that you build some type of working relationship with the realtor, and that will probably come in handy in your real estate career if you're not already a realtor yourself. All right, y'all, so just like if I were comping a house, I'm going to comp the land the same exact way, all right? So I really don't want active lots. I only want lots that closed in the last 90 days. Now, if I can't find any comparables with this criteria, then I can stretch this out to 120 days or 150 days and so on, just to make sure I can find some comps. Also, likewise, if I can't find closed comps, then I will look at actives and see exactly what's happening on the market. I also want to be within a half a mile of my subject property. So my actual property that I purchased is on Waldron Avenue in Dallas. So let's see. Now, I paid $60,000 for my lot. I also bought this lot back in November of 2024. And I'm going through the process right now for permitting. I already have my plan set and everything that I need. I have my survey. I have everything that I need to go ahead and start new construction on this property. I'm just waiting for my permits to be approved and come back. And I'm going to break ground on this probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. All right, so I was able to find 5 comps within the last 90 days. So perfect. And keep in mind, y'all, I paid $60,000 for my lot. All right. So let's go here. This lot was listed for $55,000, sold for $50,000, but let's see why. Okay, boom. This was a commercial lot. My lot is residential. I'm building a single family home, which is residential. So I'm not even going to compare or use a commercial lot because my property is not commercial. It is residential. So let's go to the next comp. All right, 3504 Colonial. This was listed at 120, actually sold at 70,000, and it's just sold in March. All right, so this sold for $70,000. This is a residential property. Square footage is similar to mine. My property is 7,700 square feet. This is 7,579. Again, sold at 70,000. So this is a comp that I will use. All right. It is comparable to my lot. So they pay 70, I pay 60. We right on par. All right, so this is 4114 Colonial Avenue. This also sold at 70,000. So we're starting to see a pattern here. But we're going to confirm this is on PD 595, which I know from experience is residential. My lot is actually zoned the exact same thing. All right, so, and this is 7,057 square feet. So my lot is a little bigger. So I'm still right on par with the price range. Let's look at the next comp. 2309 Real Mine. Okay, this is 6,200 square feet, so smaller than mine. SFR stands for single family residential, so I know this is a residential lot. and they also paid $70,000 for this lot. So I paid less than all of these guys, so I know I'm on the right path. All right, 2503 Metropolitan. This lot is bigger than mine at 9,300 square feet, but it's also residential, and it's sold at 87.5. So we just looked through 4 comps, guys. I paid significantly less than all of these buyers for my land, so I know I paid the right price. But again, I bought my property back about 7 months ago, but this is still on par. All right, now typically what I would do is look at land comps, but I would also look at new construction comps. Okay, but since I've already pulled the new construction comps, I'll go through my BCP, or Build Construct Pro, which is a platform that was created by my mentors. I just finished a 16-week mentorship with TGB, or the Gentleman Builder, here in DFW. They showed me how to build a new construction project from ground up. So I'm equipped, I am ready. And this platform is super legit and helps a lot. So this is my due diligence page, but I also have a project calculator, a budget, project management. I mean, it's really, really intuitive. And I suggest that you may sign up for it. I can probably even give you guys a free 14-day trial. All right, DM me, let's talk about it, or leave a comment, let's talk about it. All right, but let's scroll down so I can show y'all these numbers. All right, so this is just information for my lot. Boom. So I'm planning to sell the home that I built for $300,000 based on the comps that I pulled. So the comps that I pulled were between 295 and 317. The comp square footage that I pulled was between 1150 square feet and 1400 square feet. My house is going to be 1300 square feet, so a little less than the largest comp that I pulled. And I'll just pull up these comps for y'all to show y'all, because this is going to go into the formula that's used to make an offer. All right, so these are the comps that I pulled back when I bought the property, and you can see based on the date that these are older comps. Okay, so the first comp I pulled sold for $295, right on par with my square footage. This one sold for $295, significantly smaller than mine. Well, not significantly, but 150 square feet. This one sold for $297, also 150 square feet smaller than mine. This one sold at $305. It's 100 square foot larger than mine. This one sold at $317, and it's also 100 square foot larger than mine. So based on these comps, I just rounded out the average to $300,000, which is what I'm expecting to sell my new construction property for. Since I ran these comps 7 months ago, I can probably get more now, but right now my numbers are based on me selling the house for $300,000. Okay, so these are the comps that I came up with. And so let's do some basic math. Now, I told y'all we talk about the difference between comping for wholesale and comping for new construction. All right, I wholesale as well, so this applies to me. Now, I know based on my wholesaling history and based on going through this mentorship program that a builder who's actually going to build on the lot is going to want to pay no more than 20% for the land of what the new construction home can sell for. All right, so in my instance, new construction home can sell for $300,000. That's my expectation. So as a builder, I'm not going to be wanting to pay more than 20% for that lot, which brings me right to $60,000. All right, which is right on par with what I actually paid for the lot. All right, so what I'm telling you makes sense, and it's actually what I did in real life. All right, so again, write that down. A builder is going to want to pay no more for the land than 20% of what new construction homes sell for. And I just gave y'all that example. Now, if I were wholesaling this lot, I would use this same formula and then just back out whatever I want to make on an assignment fee, and that's what I would offer the seller. All right, so if I were wholesaling this lot, let's say I want to make $10,000 on assignment, right? So for this same lot on Waldron that I have, I would have offered the seller $50,000 if I were going to wholesale it and want to make money in the middle, because I know I can only sell it to an end buyer or a builder or developer for $60,000 based on that 20% formula. All right, hope that makes sense, guys. So those are real numbers in real time. And I'm gonna actually go through my calculations with y'all, all right? So my sales price, 300,000. My lot cost was 60,000. My lot closing costs, and these are all approximate numbers, all right? My rough bill budget, 143. Contingency, 7150, and these are going to be things that I pay out of pocket, like my survey, my form board survey, my permitting, things like that. My total hard costs, 211,000. Gross proceeds is 88.9. My commissions when I sell be roughly 15. Closing costs when I sell roughly 4,500. Carrying costs 3,000. I put 3,000 here. It's probably going to be a little bit more, but I do plan on getting out of this very quick. And the net profits can be around 66,450. Now, if I have more carrying costs, let's just say this ends up being, let's say 10,000, round it up super high, then I'll still make roughly 59 grand on my first new build project, all right? Which is awesome, guys, because I already have other lots that I've purchased. We have other lots in the pipeline. So we're gonna be able to build a lot of new construction homes over the next 12 to 24 months, and we're just gonna keep it going. So $60,000 plus on my first project is awesome. And the way I'm able to do that is because I stuck to the formula when I bought my lot. So as you can see, a wholesaler is going to focus on resale margin and what buyers are paying for the lot mixed with their assignment fee and what they want to make for the deal. A builder is going to focus on end value, construction costs, and the margins that they stand to make from the deal. And so to sum it all up, you can reverse engineer what your offer for B for land based on that 20% formula and what you want to make on the assignment fee if you're wholesaling. All right, y'all, now a couple key value factors to consider when you're looking to make an offer on vacant land. First, which we already talked about, is the zoning. You want to make sure that the zoning aligns with what it is that you want to do. If you're looking to build a single family house, you don't want to buy commercial zoning, community retail, where it has to be a gas station or something like that. So you want to make sure the zoning is aligned. If you want to build a duplex, make sure it has duplex zoning. If you want to build multifamily or apartment building, make sure it has that multifamily commercial zoning. All right, so you have to dig into that. You might have to go to the city zoning and planning to confirm some of this information if it doesn't show you on the CAD or County Appraisal District website, but you have to make sure the zoning aligns. Even though you can buy a property and try to rezone it, that is a whole process that could take months to a year, cost you thousands of dollars. You have to go through this process, and it is not guaranteed. You can buy commercial properties, spend thousands of dollars, go through the process of trying to rezone it, and they could deny you. Now you're sitting on a piece of land that you cannot even use, and it's going to be a lot harder to sell commercial land based on what it's actually zoned for and what can be built there than it would be to resell residential land. Also, when a builder or actual buyer sees that the lot has been bought and sold multiple times in a short period of time, that kind of raises a red flag, like, hey, what's wrong with this property? Why didn't the last builders actually build on it? Second, you want to make sure that your residential lot has access to utilities, all right? Electricity, water, and sewer. Now, you can do a site test, and if you see an electrical pole nearby, you know it probably has electricity access. If you see a manhole nearby, or if there are houses on each side of the land, you can obviously assume that they have water access. So if your lot is between that, or even on the corner lot, it probably has the same water and sewer access. But if you are in the city of Dallas, you can reach out to the county and request a utility map, and it'll show you where the water and sewer connections are, and it's going to look something like this. But if it does not have access to utilities, that can be a 10 grand plus cost or expense that now you have to factor in that probably wasn't in your budget to begin with. So you want to make sure the property has proper utilities, guys, or factor that into the amount that you offer for the property. Next is the lot shape and size, all right? Every lot has building setbacks, meaning you can't just build a house right on the edge of the lot. Most of the time it has to be back 5 to 20 feet, depending on if you're going from the front, back, or the side, all right? The city has these setback requirements for safety, and so you will have to look into your county, see what setbacks are, depending on the square footage of the lot, and consider that when you're looking at smaller lots or lots with weird shapes. Fourth, you want to make sure your property is not in a flood zone. All right. Now, there are different type of flood zones. Some are okay to build in. You have 100-year floodplain, a 500-year floodplain, 1,000-year floodplain. Now, if you're in 100-year floodplain, what that means is this property could potentially flood in the next 100 years. So it's going to take a lot more insurance in order to be able to buy that property, meaning you're going to have to pay more for insurance because it is more of a liability risk for the insurer to cover this property. And sometimes based on how bad the flood zoning is, this county may not even let you build on that flood zone property. So a lot of builders avoid flood zone properties. All right. Now, if you're in the 500 to 1,000-year floodplain, well, I don't know about you, but I probably won't be around in 500 to 1,000 years. So insurance companies are thinking the same. So most of the time, those floodplains are going to be okay to build in. And you can check the county floodplain map for this information. I know Tarrant County has one, Dallas County has one. I will put those links below in the description. And then if you're in a county that doesn't have a floodplain map for whatever reason, you can probably call planning and zoning and confirm that. Or as a last resort, you can also use the FEMA website flood map, but it's not going to be as updated and as accurate as your direct county flood zone map. All right, so keep that in mind. You want to make sure your property does not have any easements. And an easement is the legal right to use someone's property for a specific purpose. And just as an example, so a power company, let's say Encore TXU, might have an easement on the lot to run power lines under that property through a section of your land. Now, you can still own the land, but you cannot build a structure over the portion of the property that has that easement, because if something goes wrong, the electricity company may have to access those power lines and go through the ground. Now, if you have a structure there, that means they get to come in your house, tear up your floors, or tear down your whole house just to go underground and correct this problem. So you want to avoid properties with easements. Now, sometimes an easement can be so old, you can call that power company or go to the county just to see if it's still active. And if it's not, they can grant you a letter saying, hey, this easement is no longer active. You are free to build a structure here. But that also is a process. So you want to make sure that there are no easements there. Now, your title commitment should show if there are any easements on the lot, but if you want to be proactive, you can probably look on your county map, or you can also call planning and zoning to make sure there are no easements on the land. Lastly, you want to confirm a lot's topography, and this pretty much just explains to you how the property sits. And this can affect your buildability, which could be steep or uneven land that might require some grading, meaning bringing in some dirt to level out the land, or it might require you to put up retaining walls around the property, which can get really expensive. Second, it could affect the drainage to your property. So when you build a house, the water has to drain through the front. So that's how the piping has to go, so the water can go out to the street, not onto your neighbor's house or to the neighbor behind you. So there's always a drainage plan when you build a house. So how the water drains is very important to how the lot sits. All right. So you want to make sure it's not a lot of unevenness, because grading the land and bringing in dirt can also get very expensive. Ideally, you want a flat lot, but that's not always the case. And I'm not telling you to avoid lots that are not flat. Just consider that when you're making your offer. If you need help comping a lot or doing due diligence on the lot to make sure it's a good buy for you, I'm happy to help you. Just book a consult. That link is also in my description. I would greatly appreciate if you can like, comment, and subscribe so I can continue to make this real estate content for y'all. Hopefully it's adding value to somebody. And until the next time, y'all, tap in.